Hi friends, it's Brachie here. Today we are going to learn all about this week's Parsha. But before we learn about the Parsha, what do we have to do? We have to sing the Parsha song. So sing it with me. This week's Parsha is Parsha's Bamidbar. Are you ready? Okay. The Parsha of the week is Bamidbar. Bamidbar, Bamidbar. The Parsha of the week is Bamidbar, Bamidbar. Amazing! So, friends, what happened in this week's Parsha? Let me tell you. So, the Parsha starts off by telling us how all of the Yidden, they were counted. Hashem decided to count all of the Yidden to see how many there were. Well, here's a very amazing picture of all of the Yidden coming. Do you see? They're all walking up, and there's Moshe and Aaron, and they're going to get counted. Well, do you know how they got counted? They didn't just walk up and Moshe and Aaron said, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. That's not how they got counted. All of them had to hold a special shekel. A shekel is like a coin. If you have a coin in your house, it looks very similar to that. And they gave their coin in to Moshe and Aaron. And Moshe and Aaron took all the coins and they counted them. And that's how the Eden got counted. And then each Shevet, there were 12 Shvatim, 12 tribes, and each of them got counted separately. And then they found out how many Yidden there were all together. And that was really special. Hashem wanted to count the Yidden to show how much they matter to Hashem. Because when you have something special, you want to count it, right? If you have a whole bag of candies, can you imagine having a whole bag of candies? You want to count all the candies to know how many you have, because it's so special to you. So Hashem wanted to count all the Yidden because we are so special to Him, and Hashem wanted to know how many we are. So that's in the beginning of the Parsha. But what else does the Parsha talk about? Well, do you know how all of the Yidden traveled through the Midbar, through the desert? Remember we spoke about that? The Yidden were traveling through the Midbar, through the desert. And while they traveled, they carried something so special. Do you remember we spoke about the Mishkan? What's inside the Mishkan? The Kodesh HaKodeshim. And what else is inside the Mishkan? The menorah and so many special things. Do you remember we spoke about those things? Well, when the Yidden were walking through the desert, they carried these things. They couldn't carry the whole Mishkan. It was too big. Imagine carrying your house. Well, that is too big. So they had to take it apart and they had to carry it all the way through the desert. Well, you know what? Who carried all the special vessels, all the special things, like the menorah and the Aron? Well, that was the special Levium. The Levium carried all those things. As you can see, we have the menorah, we have the Aron, we have the Kiar, I think that's the Kiar, and there are so many things that were in the Mishkan that the Levium carried. And that was really special. And the Kohanim, and they carried the structure of the Mishkan, because there were not only things inside the Mishkan, but the Mishkan itself, and they had to carry it. And that was really special, and they got such a special mitzvah to do that. They got to carry it all the way through the desert. But once they settled and they weren't walking anymore, they settled down. Everyone put all of their tents up and they had to settle down. Well, how did that happen? So, I want to show you a picture. Wow, do you see all of these tents? There are so many tents. And what do you see in the middle? The middle is a picture of the Mishkan. This is the Mishkan, which has the menorah, the Aron Kodesh, the Kiar, the Mizbeach, all the special things. And that was in the middle of all the camps. And this one was called Machane Shechina, the camp of the Shechina. The Shechina is Hashem's light. Hashem rested right in the middle. But then, who camped around the Mishkan? That was called Machane Leviim, right? The camp of the Leviim. Well, because they carried all of the things in the Mishkan, right? So they camped right around the Mishkan. They were here, over here, and over here. But do you know who was right in front of the Mishkan? It was Moshe and Aaron. They were guarding the Mishkan. Even though Hashem doesn't really need guards, but still, Hashem knows how special it is and wanted Moshe and Aaron to guard right in front of the Mishkan. And what else? Then there's the rest of the Yidden. Where did they stay? Well, because there were 12 Shvatim, 12 tribes, they also had to camp around. So there were 3 Shvatim on each side of the Mishkan. And this was Machane Bnei Yisrael. They camped all around the Mishkan. Well, they camped around the Leviim, who are right over here, and then were all of Bnei Yisrael. And should we see who is where? Well, first on the east side. Really, this looks like it's down, but I could show you another picture soon. How on the east side, this was Machane Yehuda. And that's Yehuda right over here. And in his camp, he also had Yisachar and Zebulun. And then on the north side, there was Machane. On the north side, we had Machane Dan. Machane Dan was right over here on the north side. And Dan had Asher and Naphtali in his camp. And also on the west side, we had Machane Binyamin. In his camp, there was Ephraim and Menashe. And on the south side, we had Machane Reuven. And in Reuven's camp, there was Shimon and Gad. And they all had their own flags to represent who they were. I'm going to show you some more pictures. Over here, there's another picture, you see? And that's of how they camped. The Mishkan was in the middle, the Leviim right around. And then on each side, there were different camps of Bnei Yisrael. Well, do you want to see the flags? I'm going to show you the flags. Because there were 4 groups, right? On the north, on the east, on the south, and on the west. There were 4 different sides. And they each had their own flag. Look at that. This flag belonged to Machane Yehuda, who in his camp there was Yisachar and Zebulun. And that was like a lion. And they each had their own color on the flag. And then was Machane Reuven's camp. And they had Reuven and Shimon and Gad and that they represented a deer, and they also had their own colors on their flag. And then there was the camp of Dan, and Dan had Naphtali and Asher under him, and they had a snake, which they also had their own colors. And then there was the flag of Ephraim, of Benjamin, sorry, and then under him was Ephraim and Manasseh, and they also had their own colors. And you see, these were all the flags, and it was a really beautiful setup, and everyone lived together around the Mishkan. And then when they had to get up again, all the Levium took all the special vessels, all the special things like the Aron and the Mizbeach and the Menorah, and put it in their special coverings. And then they traveled in the desert again, right? And then when they settled down again, they had this special setup, and that was so special to Hashem. And that's a little bit about this week's Parsha. And thank you, friends, for joining me, and I will see you next time.